Okay. Sounds about right. So while I'm waiting for the Twitch stream to actually properly load, I welcome everyone who actually has notification on this Twitch channel. Welcome to ICPC Live. We will be doing more and more talking shows or, all the different broadcast types starting now. So from November 2019 till the very World Finals. This season's World Finals will be held in Moscow in June 2020, so definitely stay tuned and subscribe for that channel. I hope we will be able to provide you with some more interesting content here and there. And today with me are Anton, Tsypko and Mihai, Calancea, and we'll discuss the standings and the results of SEERC, one of the regional contests, the earliest regional contest of the season, that we think identified the first teams who advanced to the World Finals. So welcome Anton and Mihai.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself, Anton? Can you go first?
Yeah, sure. My name is Anton. I'm in charge, one of the people in charge of problem setting in SEERC. So my goal was to prepare the problems and to prepare the editorial after the contest.
Is the team of judges who are working on SEERC big, or what is the profile of your colleagues in here?
It's very different from year to year. Most of the judges are actually all the judges are either Romanians or Ukrainians. We have Lorina Nigrinu. I'm sorry if I don't say her last name correctly, who is in charge of Romanian authors, and I'm in charge of Ukrainian authors. So we just invite all the judges from our side. We invite all the people who are interested in problem setting, and then we form such a team of judges based on these two groups of people.
Okay, sounds reasonable. So let me walk our spectators around, and Mihai, can you introduce yourself as well?
Yes. So I'm Mihai Calancea. I'm the coach, official coach of the University of Bucharest teams in general, and of the team that won SEERC this year. I've been around SEERC for about 6 or 7 years because I've also participated twice in the World Finals for the University of Bucharest team, so I've had to pass through the regional as a contestant also. So I have somewhat of a history with it.
Awesome. So we're now looking at the ICPC Baylor EDU webpage for Southeastern Europe Regional Contest. It was held October 18 till October 20. So with the main contest being on October 19th, I hope that I remember that correctly. And it is one of the few two-site regional contests with totally equal participation as far as I'm concerned. One side is in Ukraine and the other is in Romania. But also between all the different selection contests, not only Romania and Ukraine participate, but also Moldova, Bulgaria, Cyprus, and Turkey. Is it right, or are there even more countries participating in that competition?
I think there are many of them. I am not sure how many countries are there in total. Just go to the ICPC website and you will see the map.
Okay. Makes sense. But also, I think that it is fairly reasonable that the best participating teams are from Romania and Ukraine, because we can also see 6 and 4 extra selection contests that lead to either Ukrainian selection championship or Romanian selection championship. And as far as I'm concerned, the more competitions are actually indeed held within a country, the more participants are attracted to do so, and it usually helps both with training and with involvement of all the different IT students into the competition.
Yeah,
Anton, I know that you are one of the organizers of these Ukrainian selection contests. Can you give us a few words about that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, before the SEERC, we have two more selection rounds. The first one takes place in April. And if I'm not mistaken, this year we had a little bit more than 1,000 teams that solved more than one problem in the very first regional contest. This contest took place in, as far as I remember, in 26 cities in the each regional center. And the second stage took place in September. We had only 6 cities that hosted this event, and we had around only a few hundred teams who participated in that. And from each region, we have a few teams, around 8-10, who qualified to the SEERC. And we had around 40-50 teams from Ukraine in SEERC in total.
Sounds awesome. And Mihai, well, it is fairly obvious from the organizer's standpoint that it is really good to have as many contests as possible, all those, different levels of selection, so that on the first competition that contestant faces, problems would be really easy. It would be very easy to enter. But for you, as a very experienced both contestant and the coach, do you feel like all those extra selections actually make no sense and just consume your time and time of your team, maybe?
Well, yeah, I have mixed feelings about lower these lower stage contests. So, well, in Romania's case, there are actually some problems because the regional contest is so early. So the national Romanian contest was September 28th for the past 2 years. And the problem with that is that actually the school year starts on the 1st of October. So basically, there were actually some students that weren't even in the town of their university, in the city. They hadn't come from home from vacation yet. This is something that we're discussing with our regional director, that we want to push the regional in November, like the other regionals in Europe. So perhaps we can also push our national contest further and have greater participation. So in general, I think we've been striving to have a good national contest. So a Romania collegiate programming contest. We're trying to have good problems, good quality problems, original problems. We're trying to do it on site. We couldn't do it this year. It was in 5 or 6 small sites, university sites, and an online with an online contest. But in the past, we've last year everybody was in Bucharest, so we invited everyone to
That's
Bucharest.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So we're hoping to make this a regular thing. So have an on-site national phase. It's not really easy. So last year I was kind of in charge of the problem setting. So I proposed a lot of problems, and me and a few other friends. But if you go even lower than that, like let's say the Bucharest sub-regionals, which I think exist in the ACM. Yeah, I think it might not be ideal because so what happens when you have to host a contest like an ICPC contest with 12 problems or something, and you don't have the problems, or you don't have a problem setting committee, you don't have a good judge team, is that you'll probably get problems from online judges, problems that already exist, and mix them up. Or I mean, that's what people, I don't usually do this. I just back off and let things happen.
But it also makes sense because for earlier stages of participation, you're more like you want to make it attractive and make these problems interesting, and uniqueness will not be the most important point at that point, because all the best teams will anyway solve these problems easily.
Yes, but it's not about, I mean, such a contest can actually be unattractive because like, to give a short example, there are some stereotypes in Romania about what constitutes an easy problem, and often people will say that classical problems are easy problems. So, for example, you'll have a lot of people that might set a problem that so just like compute the nth Fibonacci number for a large value of n and write it in matrix form, and do fast exponentiation. And the thing with such a type of problem is if you're a beginner and your whole team is with people that have no experience in ICPC or Olympiad, they will have no chance of doing this during the contest without knowing it beforehand. And the people that do know it beforehand will they solve it instantly. So you might actually scare away beginners if your choices for easy problems are wrong in any way. And this is a certain way that some people do things wrongly, in my opinion, around here. They so the first few problems are very classical problems. That doesn't mean that they're easy. It just means that it helps to have experience. So I think sub-regionals can be very good. So of course sub-regionals in Russia I know are very good. I really like them. I always give like if there are some beginners or something, I give them a Samara quarterfinal. I think they're always cute and they're available in Gem. But generally, I think there should be some kind of, I don't know, creative control over the judges, so they don't scare away people.
Well, it totally makes sense. We'll now move on to the official website of SEERC. It is in the broadcast in the upper right. It's acm.ro. You can definitely get all the necessary information, including problem examples and archive from past years. And what would be the most interesting part for us, definitely, would be, first of all, the congratulations on the official SEERC website. So let's just look around the first 3 places of SEERC. We definitely have your team, Mihai. Can you give us a few words on who are these students, where do they come from, what is their past experience?
Right. So, so Lucian Bixi, he's been participating in SEERC for the past 5 years. This is his 4th regional.
Wow.
And he's already been to a world final with in Beijing in 2018. He's the most experienced. He's the highest rated in online judges. In Code Forces, I think he's like 2700 or something. So he's been very, very serious, very intense about the contest for the past few years, and he's very good. Theodor Moroianu, he's a freshman actually, and he's been to the IOI, representing Romania last year. I mean this year, this summer, and I think he got a silver. A silver medal. And Livia Magăreanu is in her 2nd year of university, and she's also been to in the Romanian Olympiad team, from which we select people for the IOI. And they're all very smart. And I would like to point out that I have very little merit for the results. And, no, I'm not being modest. I'm just being honest. They're just very smart and capable individuals.
Well, it is awesome. It sounds like a well-deserved first place in the competition. Let's now look for the scoreboard. So the final scoreboard of SEERC looks like this. I hope that it will be more or less available for everyone in the stream. Let's try to fit it a little better. Okay. Yeah, so now it looks good. So we had in total K problems. So 12, right? And it is a very typical number of problems for every ICPC contests. And the leaders solved 8 problems. So I think that's exactly the reason why specifically 3 top teams were featured on the main webpage of acm.ro. All 3 first teams actually solved 8 problems. And what usually contributes to, kind of the quality of problem set, and Anton, I'm definitely giving you a high five on that, is that not all 3 of them actually solved the same problems. So with some variation, University of Bucharest team and Kharkov National University team solved problem C, whereas RAF Penguins team solved problem A instead and didn't solve problem C. And it sounds like a great quality of a problem set. Every team has something to upsolve, like more difficult problems. H and K would definitely be on the way in their training list, I suppose. Anton, what was your favorite problem in that contest?
I think my favorite one was the second last problem J.
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty hard, but if you think a little bit, you will see that the solution is pretty easy, and that's the thing that I like most of the problems. That most of that you need to think about it, but there is not so many stuff to write. So this problem doesn't require any knowledge of any data structures. It requires just a little bit of thinking, and then if you think, you will be able to solve this problem. So for sure, this problem is my favorite here, but also most of the problems here are pretty beautiful for me.
Which one are yours in particular? Did you come up with problem J, or was it one of your colleagues?
No, it was my colleague from MIT, Anton. He created like 4 or 5 problems for this contest. So yeah, I really appreciate it. He spent too much time on it, and like almost half of the problems were created by him.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, indeed, the problem J is like the second hardest or the second easiest problem of the contest. The problem D was solved by 84 teams, the problem J by 77 teams. But in general, problem J has like highest success rate of 31%. I really do love all these nice statistics at the bottom of the scoreboard. Let's try to look around. Though at the lower part of the scoreboard, problem J looks like a very tricky problem. We can see some of the teams having like a dozen of incorrect submissions on that. But I think, if I'm not wrong, one of the fastest solution was like 11 minutes or so. It still gives that problem a right to be called like, early game problem. The one that actually every team had to solve at the very beginning of the contest if they wanted to reach a higher place in the scoreboard. So I do now have a statement of that problem on the screen. So everyone who is following the broadcast on Twitch is definitely welcome to check it out. And I'll go through the problem statement and give a few minutes before we discuss the problem solution. So you're given an undirected weighted complete graph of n vertices with odd number of vertices. And we are looking at a cycle array of size k, where for every edge in that array, we would have exactly one common vertex with previous edge and exactly one common vertex with the next edge. And all these vertices will be distinct. So we're looking at a way to like walk around this graph apparently using a non-self-intersecting cycle apparently. And we're looking at the weights of edges within that cycle, and we want to find a cycle split of that graph with the minimum price and calculate that price, where price is the sum of prices of all arrays that a particular that belong to a particular cycle split. So the general idea would, but also constraints are a very important part of every problem. We definitely know that n is odd, it is given in the statement, but also n is up to 999, which is a very weird number to see in the problem statement.
But n is odd.
Yeah,
That is
but
why.
it is odd. So I think it's like n up to 1000, right?
Yes.
And then we're given weight for every single edge in a huge input file. So here are some of the example for smaller or bigger cycles. Let's ask chat if anyone wants to solve the problem, or I assume that we can also have a situation where everyone actually was attending SEERC and are also looking at an insight from judges on these problems as well. Okay. So yeah, here is also a note that explains first example task. And it sounds fairly reasonable. Okay, so Mihai, have you been solving the problems along together with your team? Or are you usually following the scoreboard closely than the problem set?
Yeah, usually I'm following the scoreboard. Actually, we don't get the statements at the start of the contest in SEERC. I mean, at least in the Romania side. I think I got it. I got them after 2 or 3 hours. So after the half of the contest. So I didn't. I think my team started with this problem, or it was their second problem. So
One of
I
the
didn't.
earlier ones, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't even read it until I think the Open Cup the second day. So I do think I know this problem, but yeah. So this is the one with the cycles, right? And I yeah, okay. So yeah, I think I know this problem from the Open Cup round, but I didn't follow it during SEERC itself.
Do you participate in the Open Cup round personally, or do you follow it as like part of the regular training of your teams?
Sometimes I participate myself, perhaps with former teammates,
Oh, that's cool.
retired teammates, but not really that often. But I try to keep track. Yeah.
Do you think it is indeed very important for coach to be able to solve problems nowadays, or is it more of guidance and being able to uh, to provide a team all the necessary training opportunities?
Yeah, I think you need both. I think you can both be a very good problem solver and not a good coach, like a team manager, but also be a relatively good team manager, but not solve problems that well. So I think it would be best to have both. You definitely should be able to solve problems. I mean, so in my case, they're better than me, like individually. But so I can, like, after the contest, if we are having a meal or drinking something, we can discuss the problems. So even if I'm, let's say, slower or don't do that well under pressure or something, we can have a conversation basically on the same level. Up to a point, of course, because sometimes Lucian, for example, he has very good concentration and he can visualize that further than most people. So you'll probably have to pull out some pen and paper to keep up with him, and that's not always available. But yeah, I do think it's important that you know how to solve them, and that I also think it's important that you know how to appreciate problems so that you can suggest good training sets for them, because I don't think all ICPC sets are equal, especially in regard to preparing for the finals, because the finals have a certain style, and I think it's important to recognize it and try to analyze it. So from this perspective, yeah, but I also think it's important for, I don't know, to like watch them do contests and perhaps notice some things like are they, I don't know, perhaps so some things I've been noticing on for some teams that don't really have experience is that they really cluster up on the same problem early, so like you have 3 people thinking on the same problem, although we haven't reached the half of the contest yet. And after the contest, I'll be like, guys, like you reached the bottleneck there. If you, like 2 of you would have done it and another one would have read another problem, you would have been just as fine or better. Or the opposite, perhaps they were too spread out and they should have merged and exchanged ideas. So yeah, this is like some meta stuff. You don't really have to know the problems to make such comments. But yeah, I think you need both like technical and non-technical skills to say.
Makes total sense. And also, I definitely know that you're also coming like from your personal experience, participating in the World Finals twice, and also like you're a very seasoned coach. So as far as I know, your team's advanced to the World Finals 2 times already, and this would be the 3rd one, right?
Yeah.
What do you feel about, first of all, being a competitor in 2013 and 2014, and those participating both times in World Finals in Russia, and then returning for the 3rd time for the World Finals in the same country? Are you considering like maybe skipping a year and moving into something a little more exotic for you?
Yeah, actually, I've actually been to Russia more times because I went once to Petrozavodsk, and I also was a deputy leader for IOI 2016 in Kazan.
Right. So
So
basically,
yeah,
you've collected all programming competitions that were hosted in Russia in the last decade or
recently,
something.
yeah,
Okay.
in most cities. Yeah. So right, my experience as contestant. So yeah, my experience, I was like a freshman, and then in my 2nd year, I was very weak. Like I'm not that strong now either, but I was much weaker, and I had a very good teammate who was 6th or 7th in the IOI the previous year.
So they
And
basically carried you.
yeah, he carried us in my freshman year and carried us through SEERC. Yeah, we're still friends. He's actually my roommate, and
Awesome.
I think Anton knows him. He's now in the Romanian part of the SEERC judges for the past 2 years or 3 perhaps. Yeah, he's very good at everything, at competing, at problem setting, and so yeah. But it was impressive to go to the finals. I
Well, I
like the
hope
problem.
you will enjoy that in next year as well. I know that
Yeah.
the preparation is in a full swing. So I now will switch to like as the Twitch chat is actually not like very responsive to an opportunity to solve the problem. So I'll just look around and wave a little bit that on the official website of SEERC there is a full editorial that indeed states that the problem Graph and Cycles was prepared by Anton. And so you can definitely take a look and try to figure out if you could solve the problem yourself or what are the main model solutions for that. And as Mihai already mentioned, there is that competition that basically mirrors the official contests more or less every week. It's called Open Cup, and it is one of the training grounds for most of the top ICPC teams, including a number of veteran teams. That is open too. If you're interested in joining Open Cup, just direct message us into that channel and we'll help you get started. So the contest was held basically on the same weekend as the SEERC, if I recall that correctly. And we can see quite a number of teams like reaching, solving the problems. So in total, together with local teams, yeah, we had like 200 participants. And I'd say that problem J was a little overlooked if we compare that scoreboard to the official scoreboard of the competition. So we mentioned that the problem J was the 2nd easiest in the official contest, dropping that title only to problem D. Whereas in Open Cup round, problem D is still the easiest one with 178 correct submissions. But then goes problem I with 173 correct submissions. But you also need to take into account the fact that actually here in these stats, we're talking about all the teams together. So not only online teams, but also all the teams from the official competition, which actually means like the problem I was like very popular in Open Cup round. And only then goes problem G, and then goes problem J. Even though the first submission anyway came at around even 12 minutes for the online participants. Do you think there is a particular reason why people online actually, like, liked problem J a little less than the others?
Maybe the reason for it maybe is that during the SEERC, J was solved pretty early by a few teams, and other teams just figured out that J may be an easy problem, and they just switched it to J. But during the Open Cup round, teams are more advanced, so they try to read as many problems as they can, and they solve problem I faster. So they submitted, and all other participants that participate after them see that problem I is solved as well. So they can read the problem, and if problem I is easier for them than J, then they may write it. I pretty forgot what is problem I here. Oh yeah, problem I is I think one of the easiest problems here. They just need to read it and to think even less than in problem J. If in problem J they need to sort of prove the solution, in problem I is pretty obvious. So if some advanced team reads problem I, they will probably solve it in a few minutes.
So yeah, we definitely see the first full solution on problem I coming like in 3 minutes from the contest start, like 180 seconds or something. And it indeed can give a general impression that this problem is not just solvable, but one of the easiest ones within a contest. Do you think it is a good practice for a team who actually like compete on the World Finals level to follow the scoreboard that closely, or should they more or less, follow their own direction and go through problems and identify their difficulty one by one, like from their own opinion, not from the scoreboard?
I think for sure they should look at the scoreboard. They need to minimize their penalty as much as possible. So if they don't look at the scoreboard, they just solve all the problems on their own, and they also spend more time on thinking what problems are easy to write and what problems are easy in general. But if they look at the scoreboard, they will see that like problem I is super easy, and maybe we need to read it, maybe try to think a little bit on it, and then if they do it, they will see that it's actually that's easy and spend 2 minutes writing the solution, and here we have the first step it. But in case if they don't do it, they may read us spend more time on other problems, and on when they already read problem I, they already spent some time reading other problems, and as a result we have that they have more penalties than those teams that watched the scoreboard and that figure out that problem I is easy.
Okay, yeah, sounds totally reasonable. Another good thing is that through Open Cup round, we can also see that problem H figured out to be one of the more difficult ones, indeed the most difficult problem of the contest. Then, as per contestants online, goes problem C. Then goes problem K, that was not solved through the official contest. And it is always a very interesting thing to look at. Once again, I think it has something to do with the fact that one of the veteran teams, the USA 1 team, actually solved problem K in 1 hour 48 minutes. And it kind of like moved problem K within the range of solvable in the minds of participants' problems, and so they had like no opportunity to ask themselves if they should actually go for problem K, or maybe it will be one of the more difficult ones. So it is always very interesting to look at the scoreboard from all the different perspectives. One of the teams who participated in the Open Cup round and whom we expect to see in the World Finals would be the team almost retired from Nizhny Novgorod State University. Once again, as the Open Cup is more Northern Eurasia-based competition, we can see quite a number of Northern Eurasia teams in this region as well. But also, say, Pyotr team, being a team from one of the programming competition veterans, Pyotr Mitrichev, together with his colleagues from Google Zurich. And so the first team that actually won the SEERC placed 20th in the competition with all those, very professional teams, including those who are not even allowed to participate in the World Finals next year. So it's always very cool to see how teams from different regions perform when placed in, I would not say like similar situations, because definitely regional contest is something that every single team takes very seriously. It is exactly the moment where you need to perform at your best within, that half a year. On previous stages, it was enough to finish within top teams of your university with a reasonably good result. And particularly the regional contest, because only a single team from regional contest advances to the World Finals, the competition between the same university teams is very strong. And so, Mihai, can you give us an insight? Do you coach other teams from University of Bucharest, or is it the only team that you're working with?
No, there are other teams. So yeah, basically there were two other teams that participated in SEERC, and there are also a few guys that were away on an internship and didn't get back in time for SEERC, and they might team up. So yeah, there are a few teams. A problem is that due to the current rules, the other teams might get very they lack motivation because they're pretty sure they're not going to beat the best team. So they don't see that much point in getting very ready for SEERC. So in
you
this
had
regard,
a clear leader within the university, so there was no
yes,
inter-university competition on that. Okay, makes
sense.
sense.
No, because usually the best individuals go into the same team probably. So there's not enough.
Just three contestants per team, right? The number is too low, definitely.
Yeah. But regarding this, I know there are plans for a Europe Super Regional. And I don't know if it's planned or what the rules are, but it would be very nice if multiple teams from the same university could go to the Super Regional.
Well, we can definitely see that happening with Northern America this year. So I think it's fairly clear to see that there is that direction in ICPC development that allows more and more team every year to participate in the higher level competitions. And even though the World Finals looks like really competition of universities, with the rule of one team per university who represent the university on the World Finals. Regional finals look like a great opportunity to involve more contestants into that really high level of competition and high level of event organization, of course.
Yeah, I think that would be great for many teams in Southeastern Europe at least, but probably everywhere.
I agree. Let's look at the scoreboard and try to go from top to bottom and see how it actually works for all the different universities. If we had a university who had several teams competing for the top places, and how the drama can unfold. So we don't know for sure the number of teams who would be invited from SEERC to the World Finals, but we definitely know that would be at most one team per university. And I think in the last years, the maximum possible number of teams who advanced from SEERC to the World Finals was something around 5 or 6. Am I correct?
Yes, 6, I think.
So we can definitely safely assume that the number would be something like that, and take into account all the different variants. So first of all, University of Bucharest, clear first place, so no other University of Bucharest team would advance to the World Finals. Then Knure University from second place, the Ukrainian side team. Once again, saved the spot for the team. We have RAF Penguins, a great team name, a very creative one, from the third place. Then Kharkov National University, I think it's different university from the second place, that is of radio electronics. So we have even more different universities taking top spots. Do you think there is a particular reason for that? Is it all about, motivation that you mentioned, that teams don't really want to waste their year if they can see that there is another clear leader in their university?
Yes, I think this is definitely a factor. Like, we're still rather young for ICPC as a nation. We have a young ICPC culture, so we don't have enough people to have several very good teams that would compete and like have some surprise. The team that you would have thought was second actually come out first in the regional and qualify to the finals. We've never had that. I mean, it was always pretty clear who the first team was.
Okay.
So I guess this is a factor, and the small pool of participants is another factor, I guess.
Well, so we should definitely see an improvement on that in coming years with probable European super regional contest and more students joining the ICPC competitions in general. So the fifth place looks like Kyiv National University, team called Max Fun. I hope they indeed had fun, specifically with problem F with 11 incorrect submissions. That should have been fun. And we have another team. Mihai, can you please help me with this abbreviation? The university is called UNAGI, so UNAGI. Is it a well-known university from Romania, or am I missing something?
I think they're Turkish.
Oh, okay. So yeah, great representation country-wise and great representation university-wise, because if we go even a few spaces down through the scoreboard, we'll see more and more teams from different universities, with the first repeat, as I see, being the 9th place, another Kyiv National University. So it is a great result to have 8 different universities taking 8 top places. I think it looks very promising. From the ICPC perspective, from the involvement perspective, and looking at how many students actually participated. It sounds very interesting. I would like to also thank Asmani99 from Twitch chat, who actually brought in an interactive scoreboard with a filter by both region and country. I would be happy to feature that in our broadcast. Let me just bring it up. Okay. So we have all the different country stats within the scoreboard, and also information about indeed region every single team represents, and another nice scoreboard to follow through. Thank you very much, and I definitely appreciate it. We have a question from chat, and I think that would be the last part of our broadcast. So Roman Durkac says that there were some problems with task E. Anton, can you give us an insight on what was with task E and what the task E was about? And what is the general, job of problem setter during the contest itself?
So there was a problem with problem E. As far as I remember, at the second hour or third, we figured out that many teams are trying to solve E, but none of them got accepted in it. So we decided to check our test cases, and we figured out that most of the teams have wrong answer on the first test, I checked the test manually, and I figured out that the contestants have a correct answer, and the answer that the judges gave was incorrect. So we announced it, we fixed it, and reloaded the test, and rejudged all the submissions. If I'm not mistaken, it was on the third hour. There were like 5, 6 teams that got accepted after our judging. And second, your question was about, I forgot. What's the job of problem setters during the contest?
So you mentioned that during the contest you follow closely, like to identify that there was a problem with problem E. You followed closely each submission, you tried to monitor contestants' activity, and what was the typical flow? Well, if everything goes right, then not much of judges' job during the contest. But if you notice that something goes wrong, what would be your action flow?
So if something is going wrong, the first thing that you need to do is to announce it, because if we don't do it, the people will still submit their solutions, and then they can appeal that they spent too much time on it with the wrong test. So in order to minimize the effect of such fall, we announce that there is a problem with that. And then we think about how can we fix it, and then we just fixing it, rejudging, and announcing it. And during the competition, the main job of the authors is just to answer the questions the contestants have. Usually in a CPC, we don't have many of them. If I'm not mistaken, we had around like 25 hours. It's like an average for all ICPC contests in Ukraine and SEERC. So most of the time, we just watch the scoreboard. Personally, I watch some YouTube videos on another screen, and that's it.
Okay, sounds exciting. I hope more and more past contestants would join judging and problem setting for ICPC competitions. It sounds like a lot of fun, though. Okay, as we don't have any more questions from the chat, I would like to thank Anton and Mihai. Definitely give them a sub or a follow wherever in social networks you prefer to follow people. We hope to return back with a same basically broadcast for every single next regional contest, so stay tuned. Feel free to follow our ICPC Live channel for more news. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.